Hello, everyone. Kaiser Soze, Maximum Carnage with another war recap. This is against Fuerza Maya, and we ended up taking the victory 25 to 25 in terms of the star count, but the tiebreaker is the amount of destruction, so we ended up winning. Honestly, this was a really favorable matchup for us, so I think we should have crushed it quite simply. But you can see there was a bit of a mistake by Captain on their one. He made up for it by 3-starring number 2. A couple of stars left on some Town Hall 9s towards the top, and then the bottom was all clean. So naturally, the number 1, you'd like to see maybe 2 stars there. That would have brought the star count up to 27. 27 out of 30 would be great. Although I think 3 and 4 certainly could have been 3-starred at some point as well. But at least we ended up squeaking it out, and it was a dramatic finish. You can see it is a last-moment attack by Spidey, who was able to get that third and final star needed to be able to force the tiebreaker and allow the win. So a few things that I just want to show, a couple of attacks here on their 6 and 5. So the first attack on their number 6 is done by Chaser. And you can see that he just puts in a single hog over on the side to drop or pull the clan castle. Then he puts 2 poisons on it, taking care of the loons and the drag that are in. And then he's got a go wipe coming in between 6 and 9 o'clock along a flat wall. Golems go down, followed by Wiz, some heroes. The P.E.K.K.A.s are coming in. Everything ends up pushing into the middle. Once it's pushing in the middle, the jump spell goes down. The Golems miss that jump, but his heroes at least are pushing into the core with a few Wiz. There's a single Golem that's doing some tanking for him. I'm going to stop here, although we're at 2x. We can see at 142. I'm going to go 1 times and then stop. You can see these bottom end defenses that are not only shooting in now, but they have been for quite a while. And the top end defenses are engaged here with that mortar. I think the archer tower right at about now is just about to turn around and engage. We'll wait for it. There it is. The archers turn around. Now they're engaging the core. It's 1 minute 38 seconds in. Anytime any of these external defenses are engaged in fighting your troops that are in the core, that's the time to be able to put in his hogs. So the hogs haven't gone down yet. We're just going to wait until they end up being dropped. And the time there is about 1 minute 40. Certainly was late. You could even put them in a little bit early, but by 1 minute 40. So 1 minute 10 they get dropped, and it's probably about 30 seconds too long. Those troops in the core took a lot more damage than what they needed to take before those hogs went in. Everything was distracted, so what happens is the defenses turn and they begin firing at the hogs, and there's just not enough left in the tank, so to speak, to be able to take care of the remaining defenses and trash buildings that are there. And as a result, there is no 3-star on that attack, but quick scout anyway for anyone would have revealed that the inside of this base there's no double giant bombs, so certainly adding more hogs because there's no giant bombs in the core is going to be beneficial. So again, building on that attack, I wasn't looking for it before. So a couple of keys. So right now a hog goes down into the same place, sets off the giant bomb, draws the clan castle, the same troops, double poison used, so great. To this point it was a 93% attack. You don't want to do too much differently necessarily, you just want to build and improve upon it. Another hog goes down, sets off another giant bomb, which is okay. Go wipe comes in from the same side. A rage is used, followed by, I'm just going to pause here, followed by a jump to be able to gain the core, but no further spells, so he hasn't put in the rage or the heal, and just the way that those troops went in didn't commit enough potentially to be able to gain and fully gain the core. So you can see the hogs now are being deployed up top with some distracting barbarian king until it died on the bottom end, and the heal has been saved. So in Chaser's attack he didn't use the heal for the hogs. It was just a matter of putting them in late. The heal and rage, clearly by not deploying those two spells on your original set of pushing troops for that core means they didn't even get the core. And because they didn't get the core, it means that those outside defenses weren't distracted by what was in the core, and it ended up being a failed attack. So you can see he just doesn't have anything other than the P.E.K.K.A. and the Archer Queen up at this particular point. He uses the Queen's ability, but clearly not enough. With all of the defenses, it ends up being a 70% attack. So potentially, again, had changed a little bit too much from a 93% attack to be able to fix that up. So now we're going to go to Run's attack on number 6 at the end. And we could see here that Run identified that there was no giant bombs, and because of that, he says, I'm going to push in. So he's using what they call stoned goho, 3 golems. So the stoned refers to using 3 of them. Cold-blooded is using 1, and shattered is using 2. So he's got a stone going in, which means a lot of tanking. The Wiz, the heroes, all combined, and their job is to take out that clan castle. He's done that with the help of poison. They also want to take out the Archer Queen, which is what they've done, and he's used his rage to make sure that happens. And now in comes the hogs on the back end once he's got the queen down, and he doesn't have to wait. So here he's put the pack of hogs kind of in the middle, so he leaves some upper level defenses shooting one way while opposite end defenses shoot the other. It's always best to kind of run clockwise or counterclockwise when you're putting in the hogs to make sure that there's less splitting of the hogs and you don't have something shooting from one side to another, meaning as your hogs go right, you don't want to have to come back at the end and have them take out defenses all the way on the left. But nonetheless, the kill squad catches up, so they kind of rotate more, obviously in a clockwise fashion. He's saved a few hogs for the additional stuff on the back end. You can see the skellies, once those Larrys get up, they'll do quite a bit of damage. But by adding those hogs, once the defenses are dead, then they'll turn on the Barb King. They will turn and kill the skeletons. At some points, though, it's really good to have a poison to take care of those skeletons if you can afford it in the loadout, or if you can take care of the clan castle, Archer Queen, etc. without it. So I'm just going to 4-exit here. There is no defenses. Even with a couple of things that could have potentially been deployed better, ends up just crushing the base. Certainly using that attack and how dominating it was is a much, much, much better attack to use on that base with a lot higher threshold for error than using Go Wipe on that particular style. All right, so now we're going to go to the first attack, Iron on 5, which is here. So we can see from the makeup of the base here, this is a fresh attack by Iron. So he's not drawing the clan castle. He's going with a stoned Go Wipe attack here. So he's got 3 golems, 3 P.E.K.K.A.s, a bunch of Wiz. Some of the Wiz end up trailing off here and getting lost in the shuffle as opposed to just creating a funnel and helping the troops get in. You do want to attack these bases to make sure you kind of hit them all at once, as opposed to punching holes in the middle. You can see that the queen has been delayed, as the queen often is. And here, now giant bomb. So there's 1 giant bomb that's been sent there, 1 giant bomb right behind the Archer Queen, 1 giant bomb down low at that Tesla. And the troops are going through the opposite compartments. They're hitting this base pretty evenly. The issue and difficulty is that the queen, as she so often does, just simply doesn't follow any of the other troops in this particular case. So she's not there helping support take on whatever's doing the tanking. The tanking items are just getting shot. The P.E.K.K.A.s, of course, have broken outside of the walls and are walking around the base, cleaning the trash ring, which is never really the best bet for P.E.K.K.A.s, although sometimes you do get lucky with it. So we'll just 4-exit for the final few seconds here to see that it was not a 3-star, but a lot was learned from that. So the next attack on this, and a big and important one naturally, in such a close war, is Chaser. So Chaser, again, identified the fact that there was single bombs, and single bombs, if they're not in double giant bomb sets, single bombs are the big indicators on where you should heal hogs if you're going to use them. And we could see that he's taken 25 hogs and 13 whiz, his royals. He's got 3 heal spells. He's using a jump, a haste, and a poison. So he puts in a test hogs here to try to draw the clan castle, and it does not get lured. So he just begins his entry. So he is going shattered. This is not a stoned attack like Iron put in, so it's a shattered kill squad. It's a shattered go hog is how they would refer to this, or go wee hog because of the wizards. But the clan castle's been drawn. He's got a jump spell because he wants to be able to gain the core and push in as much as he can with his kill squad. Puts a poison to slow up the drag and the loons, which is great. And you can see they locked onto the golem, so his king's still up. Although it's taken a lot of damage, he's used that Iron Fist ability. His queen is now providing a lot of support for the royals as they come in. And when he knows he has those things down, he begins deploying his hogs. Now he knows where those single giant bombs have been, so he knows that he's able to delay on some of these heals and be patient. So he puts in one, and this is a great heal. It's earlier on. You want to keep those hogs up, have them standing in heal while they're destroying defenses as much as possible. He knows that there is a single giant bomb behind that Tesla, so he wants to wait, boom, until they're going to be in that area before he uses this particular heal spell, and that's a great one to be able to delay. Now, you'll notice that the hogs didn't even path over the giant bombs, and coming out right now, I'm just going to pause it. Let's just take a look at this base. So 50% destruction, but when it comes to defenses, we can go from the top all the way to the right, completely down to the side. There's one cannon, one archer tower, an air sweeper, and another archer tower up top. Now look at how many hogs that he's got, and they just came out of a heal. So this is literally, this is the equivalent of saying, okay, I've got a cannon left with a couple of archer towers. I've got 15 hogs that I'm going to deploy on the side, and I know there's no giant bombs in the way. It is just utter destruction of this base, and now it's just a matter of cleanup. And you can see he's got whiz, he's got unused heals. There's an extra heal that he could have used for this base. And that, again, is just an indicator of the strength of this attack to understand he still has his archer queen up. He's got wizards, he's got his barb king, he's got a bunch of hogs. He just completely destroys this base. And sometimes hogs fail, and it's easy for a pack of hogs to fail if they run over a giant bomb, a single bomb, or a double bomb. Scouting, though, is imperative to understand where traps are in the base, and you can see that final giant bomb just went off. To understand where those traps are, to make a plan that accounts for those traps and goes around. And the original premise, in terms of what you want to do, is with a Go Hog, is to make sure that you're sending the kill squad, so a handful of wizards with golems, the royals, a wall breaker potentially in one spell, a jump or a rage, and its job is going to be to kill the clan castle, to kill the archer queen, and hopefully take out as many threats as possible from double giant bombs, spring trap locations, skeleton trap locations that are on the ground. And that's what the kill squad does, and that's what its job does. And then putting in the hogs so you can enter, and they travel clockwise or counterclockwise so you understand the pathing, and you're putting heals for them to stand in where the giant bombs are going to be. If you don't know where the giant bombs are going to be, naturally it's a little bit trickier, but it doesn't mean that the attacks can't be effective, because a good scout should tell you where they're likely to be and still give you an indicator of some of the stuff to be able to watch out for. So those attacks were just fantastic. Captain got a 3-star on number 2, which allowed the clan to be able to come back and pull that tiebreaker out. And then Spidey, with a last-minute 3-star as well, dropped down to number 7, used Super Queen and a few other troops to be able to blast through that one. So 25 stars to 25 stars certainly could have been handled a little bit easier, and maybe a few more stars being available with those attacks and the comparison to some of the bases that they had and the troop levels they had. But closing out in such a strong manner and finishing with those 3-star attacks to be able to bring out the tie was just great. So the next war that we're going to be having has just started, and it looks like a great matchup up against the Pendleburys. Their bases, for the most part, are horrible. So the hope is people are going to be able to not only be successful with their attacks, but have an opportunity to practice using the hogs, if they have those max hogs, potentially some loon attacks with lavas like the M4X. I've just posted a video using Run as an example. And it's not an example of what not to do as much as an example of how best to deploy balloons and what you're looking for. Much like hogs, you're looking for that clockwise or counterclockwise kind of rotation, and you don't want to put balloons out in a place where they're likely to just get destroyed. You want to make sure that lavas are tanking for the balloons, and then you're putting in balloons to take out the defenses that are totally distracted. And you add balloons as more defenses become distracted, as opposed to dumping them down. So there it is. Some great attacks by Chaser, a great attack by Run to be able to pull it out at the end. Kudos to Captain. The bottom end as well, there was some good attacks, some 3-star attacks that were early on, lower down when it came to it. And we'll see what happens for the upcoming war. All right, Kaiser Soze, maximum.